Hello, Academy Stars! This week, we are going to be celebrating my favorite flower, the poppy. The poppy is a flower that grows in many different parts of the world. And in Europe, it grows in fields in California, and they have their own poppy fields that have just bloomed. And our poppies basically grow in our gardens. And they're very hardy in a sense that you can just throw seeds down and you will get poppies in the spring. Usually around June, that's when my poppies will start blooming. Beginning of June, and certain varieties will bloom all the way through June. And I love these flowers because they look like they're made out of paper, which is one of my favorite materials to work with when it comes to art. So we're going to be making our own poppies. And it's kind of, when I think about making poppies this week, today is Memorial Day, and it is a day that we recognize and we honor those who have served our country in many different capacities, from the military to healthcare to grocery workers to people who deliver our food. We honor those who put their lives ahead of our own. And the poppy has become a symbol of remembering those who might have been in battle and lost their lives. So I love the poppy for that reason, because we stand on the shoulders of people before us. And it's very healthy and awesome to remember those individuals that came before us so we could have a life like this. So journey with me and let's make some poppies. Okay. We are at the demonstration table. This is a very challenging drawing that I'm going to present to you. And I'm going to start off with the hardest one first. And then I'm going to encourage you to try to do this one. But I also have some that are on the lesson plan this week. So scroll down on that website and look at the examples that I have, because I do have some easier examples. But they're really not that much difference when it comes to difficulty. It all depends on how you look at it. And when you look at this one, there's a lot of details, but they're all texture details that you know of, because poppies are hairy, and all I did was dash lines along the stem. They have multiple petals, and so you're overlapping and layering. These are all things you know how to do. You've been doing them since first grade. It's just now we're going to sort of up the ante and try to do it a little bit slower, a little bit more with, concentration and effort, and you'll get this beautiful, beautiful poppy. So the first thing I do is I'm going to look at those examples, because it's great to draw from real life or sometimes draw from a photograph if that's all you have. And right now we just have photographs of poppies. So look at those and choose one that you like. Also look at the examples of the black and white contour drawings that I have included in this lesson to sort of guide you. And these will be part of your lesson, so they will be up there. So the first thing I do is I'm going to look at the center of my poppy, and it's sort of like a dome shape, and it has sort of a dimple. So I'm going to, on my paper, I'm going to start off with that dome shape. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do this lower petal, which is shaped like a cup, but it's also wavy. So I'm creating a wavy line. Now, if you notice over here, it has these sort of wing tip things. I don't know what you call them. It's where the petal's folding over and disappearing on the other side. So I'm going to add those to the side. So it kind of looks like a wavy Q-tip. Okay? And now I'm going to do the bottom of the bowl, and it's not perfect. So I attached a sort of a wavy smiley face to that crazy Q-tip. Okay? The next thing I'm going to do is I call this the shell. So it looks like a scallop shell. So it's going to come out here. It's going to go up, and it's a little wavy, not too wavy, not too crumply, but crumply enough to make it interesting. There's the scallop shell, okay? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move off to the side and do sort of another scallop shell. So you just think of that scallop and just the top of it. The bottom is hidden. It comes out from this petal, and again, it's wavy and scalloped at the edges, sort of crumpled, and it tucks in right there. I'm going to do one more. So it comes out, and you can decide how far you want it to come out. Sometimes they're smaller, sometimes they're bigger, but they all have a crumple edge. Now I crumpled this edge, but watch what I do here. I'm going to take a straight line and disappear it in here. And that shows the bottom of the petal. So you've created this illusion that this is cupped and this is coming from underneath on up. So you know that this is cupped. The next thing I do is I'm going to create the stem. Now the stem is thin, but it's very consistent all the way down. Okay. My next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to the leaves. And these can be, oops, I've just been interrupted by my black cat. I'm going to keep going. These are going to be I'm sorry. My cat keeps walking by, keep going. I'm going to sort of think of like an evergreen tree when I do these leaves. And you can just free draw them, or you can look at the examples. Right now, I'm just sort of free drawing it. I'm having fun making them. This side's easy because I'm not overlapping anywhere. When I get to the other side of this picture, I'm definitely going to overlap and pay attention. Here's my first one where I kind of go behind that stem. And this one kind of is going to go over something else, which you'll see. And this is my last leaf. Notice I just get kind of free with it. I get kind of like, I don't know, let's see where it goes. It wants to do its own thing. Here's another stem that comes up. And this one I like because it curves beautifully. And I love taking my time when I do these, and it hugs this pretty closely. So you can see how this hugs this particular stem. And then I might do one more right here. And this is like a little pod that's been finished. Poppies leave these really ornamental pods. And this one has a bloom that hasn't come out yet. Gorgeous, right? Once you get that done, you can now focus on doing the tiny little details. Now, what I like to use is a fine Sharpie. If you don't have a fine Sharpie, a ball tip pen will work beautifully. You don't want to use a thick Sharpie. You do want to use something kind of thin. And then you want to start focusing on your details. So inside the poppy flower are all these little details, like so. And the way you do that is you create a density of circles. So it's really, because it's closer to me here, I am adding it ones that are super close and dark, making little circles there, and they come up. And at least I'm leaving someone with not completely colored in black. I kind of want them to be a little white. And so you can see how I build that up. And then I'm going to make that dome, and it has ridges in it. So, and again, it reminds me of a sea anemone. Definitely a lot of sea-like imagery here, and some shading. And we've done shading. So let's see you do some shading along the ridges of the center of that poppy. And then you can create some of the lines that are going in on the petals. Remember, they're made out of paper. They look like they're made out of paper. I could go on and on with this, but I know you want to get to it. So you're going to have to really look at my details, how to make the hair on the poppy, along the stem, inside the stem, even on the bud itself are little dash lines. They're fuzzy, they're hairy. So it takes a little bit of time to make that, but well worth it. On the leaf, I did some stippling. So I added some stippling, is lots of dots together. The more dots you have, the darker it's going to look. Stippling takes a little bit of time. There's no question about that. And I did that on the inside of the leaves, and then I sort of did a couple of dots on the outside. So that adds a little texture to the leaves. This is a little challenging, but I think you can do it. Follow the steps. I will have this example up plus some simpler examples if you want to start off with that. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do with this. It takes a little bit of effort, but it's well worth it because you come up with something quite beautiful and remarkable. Have a great week, guys.